The year 2016 sent shockwaves through the European Union as the United Kingdom voted to leave. This unprecedented decision, termed Brexit, triggered a period of uncertainty and introspection across the continent. Many wondered if the UK's departure would set off a domino effect, prompting other EU member states to follow suit. However, almost 7 years on, the EU has not witnessed another member leaving the bloc. But Euroscepticism is still very much alive and well across the continent, including countries such as Italy, Hungary, Netherlands, and Sweden, voicing their opinions about re-evaluating their membership in the bloc. In this video, we will examine the reasons why, despite facing internal challenges and Eurosceptic sentiments, no other EU country has chosen to follow in Britain's footsteps. As for Britain, the decision to leave was driven by a complex web of factors, including concerns about sovereignty, immigration, and economic autonomy. The negotiations that followed after Brexit were complex and fraught with challenges, as both sides sought to secure the best possible outcome for their respective interests. It raised fundamental questions about the future of European integration and the appeal of the EU model in an era of rising nationalism and populism. Italy, for example, has been one of the founding members of the European Union. Yet recent sentiments of Italians are more disillusioned with the EU than ever before, and Italian nationalist leader Giorgia Meloni's historically anti-European stance hinted Italy would follow UK and exit from the European Union. Similarly, Viktor Orban, the Hungarian president, has on several occasions expressed his views about Euroscepticism. Despite Hungary being a member of both the EU and NATO, Orban has maintained a strong relationship with Russia's Vladimir Putin. President Orban's government has also been accused of eroding democratic freedoms in the country since taking power in 2010. The Scandinavian country Sweden has also expressed similar thoughts about Swexit. Jimmy Åkesson, the leader of the Sweden Democrats Party, has said that the EU was heading in the wrong direction. In one of the local newspapers, Åkesson wrote that there are good reasons to seriously re-evaluate Sweden's membership in the Union. The Dutch Party for Freedom, PVV, led by Geert Wilders, have also advocated for Nexit and voiced opinions about Euroscepticism. But why did all these countries not act on it? Did Brexit show serious problems of leaving the bloc? Come, let's find out the real reasons why other European countries did not leave the EU following the UK. If you're new here, consider subscribing to our channel and stay tuned with our latest updates. The UK's exit from the EU became official on January 31, 2020. This followed years of complex negotiations and political wrangling. The UK's withdrawal agreement with the EU addressed key aspects of the separation, including citizens' rights, financial settlements, and the Irish border issue. The agreement included a transition period which lasted until December 31, 2020. During which the UK remained subject to EU rules and regulations while the two sides finalised their future relationship. The post-Brexit era has been marked by both challenges and opportunities for the UK. The country now has greater autonomy in areas like trade and immigration, but also faces economic hurdles and potential disruptions to its supply chains. The long-term impact of Brexit on the UK's economy, global standing and place in the world is still unfolding. The full implications of this decision are still being felt by fellow Britons and debated every day. While it is still too early to make definitive assessments about the long-term impact, the immediate aftermath of the UK's departure from the EU has been marked by economic challenges. The British economy has faced headwinds, including a decline in the value of the pound sterling, increased trade barriers, and uncertainty surrounding future trade relations with the EU. The UK's departure from the EU's single market and customs union has led to increased bureaucracy and costs for businesses engaged in cross-border trade. In contrast, the EU economy has shown signs of resilience in the post-Brexit era. While the bloc has faced its own set of challenges, including the COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine, its overall economic performance has been relatively stable. The UK's decision to leave the EU has undoubtedly created economic uncertainty and disruption. UK's economic indicators suggest that Britain faces a more challenging economic outlook compared to its EU counterparts. Despite the UK's decision to leave the EU, other member states have not followed suit. While scepticism towards the EU and its policies exists in varying degrees across the continent, it has not translated into a widespread desire to leave the bloc. Several factors explain why other EU countries have not opted for a Brexit-style departure. Firstly, the economic challenges faced by the UK post-Brexit have served as a cautionary tale for other member states. The UK's experience has highlighted the potential economic costs and disruptions associated with leaving the EU's single market and customs union. Secondly, the EU offers its member states a range of benefits, including free trade, freedom of movement, and political cooperation, that are seen as valuable by many citizens and governments. Despite its flaws and shortcomings, the EU is seen by many as a guarantor of peace, stability, and prosperity in Europe. For example, Italy's public debt, which is nearly 150% of its GDP, is the third largest in the industrialized world, following Japan and Greece. Meloni's country relies heavily on the European Union's Recovery and Resilience Fund to help manage its economic challenges and support growth. A Swexit is also highly unlikely. Swedes are among the most supportive of EU membership in Europe, with 63% of the population expressing trust in the bloc and 73% remaining optimistic about its future. This positive outlook makes a potential Swexit scenario very remote. Similarly, the Dutch public has shown that there is no strong desire to leave the EU. Polls have consistently shown that a significant majority of the Dutch population supports EU membership. Dutch voters tend to appreciate the benefits of the EU, particularly when it comes to economic stability, trade, and security cooperation. However, in the case of Hungary, 43% of Hungarians are pessimistic about the EU and 44% distrust the bloc, according to the Eurobarometer. Lastly, the process of leaving the EU, as outlined in Article 50 of the Treaty on European Union, is complex and potentially disruptive. It involves lengthy negotiations between the departing member state and the remaining EU members, political uncertainty, and potential economic costs. Article 50 of the Treaty on European Union outlines the procedure for a member state to withdraw from the EU. However, the complexity of the process and the potential for political and economic disruption have served as deterrents for other member states considering an EU exit. The UK's experience with Article 50 further underscores the challenges associated with leaving the EU. The political turmoil and economic uncertainty surrounding the Brexit process have made other EU countries wary of triggering Article 50. The existence of Article 50, while providing a legal mechanism for withdrawal, has inadvertently strengthened the EU's cohesion. The perceived risks and complexities associated with invoking Article 50 have acted as a deterrent, encouraging member states to seek solutions within the EU framework rather than pursuing an exit strategy. What are your thoughts about other European countries that remain in the bloc? Do you think any of the EU member will consider leaving the Union? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and insights. Until next time, take care.